These are things that are required in order to live. Everyone needs food, water, clean air, clothing, and shelter. Wants are things that add comfort and pleasure to your life. You may believe you can't live without new clothes or phones, but you can. Many people do. You satisfy your needs and wants by purchasing and consuming goods and services. Goods are things that you can see and touch. They are the products you can purchase to meet your wants and needs. Services are activities provided for the satisfaction of others that are consumed at the same time they are produced. Economic resources are the things available to be used to produce goods and services. Economic resources are also known as factors of production. Raw materials supplied by nature are natural resources. The earth contains oil, minerals, and the nutrients needed to grow crops and forests and to feed animals. The people who produce goods and services are known as human resources. In the example of the vegetable soup, many people are needed to complete the work required to produce that product. The products and money used in the production of goods and services are capital resources. Capital resources include buildings, equipment, and supplies. Individuals and businesses have unlimited wants and needs. However, the economic resources that can be used to meet their needs are limited. The mismatch of unlimited wants and needs and limited economic resources is known as the basic economic problem. Basic economic problem results from scarcity. Scarcity means not having enough resources to satisfy every need. Economic decision-making is the process of choosing which needs and wants will be satisfied. Once you learn the process, your decision-making will be easier and the process may lead to better choices. For every decision, the problem must be clearly defined in order to make a decision that will lead to a satisfying solution. It is important to identify and then consider all the alternatives when making a decision. Evaluate and then select the choice that you believe will be best for you at this particular time. Once you have made what you believe is the best decision, act on your choice. After you have had a chance to experience the results of your choice, it is important to review your choice. In order to determine how available resources will be used to meet the needs and wants, each country must answer 3 economic questions. How these questions are answered indicates the type of economic system that exists in each country. An economic system is the method a country uses to answer the 3 economic questions. The level of government involvement in the marketplace differs among the 3 types. In a command economy, the resources are owned and controlled by the government. Government officials decide what and how goods are produced and how they will be distributed and consumed. In a market economy, the resources are owned and controlled by the people of the country. In a traditional economy, goods and services are produced the way it has always been done. The traditional economy is used in countries that are less developed and are not yet participating in the global economy. Most nations of the world operate a mixed economy. A mixed economy combines elements of the command and market economies. The right of private property means you can own, use, or dispose of things of value. In the United States, you can own anything you want and decide what you want to do with it, as long as it does not violate the law. Freedom of choice means that you can make economic decisions independently and must accept the consequences of those decisions. Businesses invest resources and take risk for one primary purpose: to earn a profit. Profit is the money left from sales after all of the costs of operating a business have been paid. Rivalry among businesses to sell their goods and services is known as competition. In a market economy, buyers and sellers use the marketplace to make economic decisions. Buying decisions are made by consumers. A consumer is a person who buys and uses goods and services. Successful producers must pay close attention to the needs and experiences of consumers. Producers are individuals and organizations that determine what products and services will be available for sale. When consumers make decisions about what they will purchase, they determine the demand for goods and services. Demand is the quantity of a good or service that customers are willing and able to buy. Understanding consumer demand helps businesses to determine what types and quantities of products to supply. Supply is the quantity of a good or service that businesses are willing and able to provide. One way to find out how well an economy is doing is to compare output from year to year. The most widely used measure is gross domestic product. Gross domestic product, or GDP, is the total value of all final goods and services produced in a country during 1 year. The workers of a country contribute to the economy in several ways. First, their labor activities create needed goods and services. In addition, the wages they receive are spent to create demand for various items. One economic statistic of concern is the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate is the portion of people in the labor force who are not working. A vital source of economic growth is an increase in output per worker. Productivity is the production output in relation to a unit of input, such as a worker. The movement of the economy from one condition to another and back again is called a business cycle. Business cycles are the recurring ups and downs of GDP. When the economy slows down, a phase of the business cycle known as recession occurs. Recession is a period in which demand begins to decrease, businesses lower production, unemployment begins to rise, and GDP growth slows for 2 or more quarters of the calendar year. Depression is a phase marked by a prolonged period of high unemployment, weak consumer sales, and business failures. Recovery is the phase in which unemployment begins to decrease, demand for goods and services increases, and GDP begins to rise again. A problem with which most nations have to cope is inflation. Inflation is an increase in the general level of prices. The prime rate is the rate banks make available to their best business customers, such as large corporations. The discount rate is the rate financial institutions are charged to borrow funds from Federal Reserve banks. The T-bill rate is the yield on short-term U.S. government debt obligations. The Treasury bond rate is the yield on long-term U.S. government debt obligations of up to 30 years. The mortgage rate is the amount individuals pay to borrow for the purchase of a new home. The corporate bond rate is the cost of borrowing for large U.S. corporations. The certificate of deposit rate is the rate for time deposits at saving institutions.